All right, so maybe we should kind of get started. Let me make sure I do this right. Make my screen so I can see everything for a second. Right. Cool. Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Dennis Huang, Executive Director for the Asian Business Association. On behalf of the association, we welcome you this afternoon, a beautiful Thursday afternoon, July 23rd, for some understanding of something kind of complex, and hopefully the team here will simplify for us, which is about designing your website. I know you have mentioned Jim on the call as well as Karen on the call, and I know Don Gilbert is also joining us from Frontier. But I also want to take a minute to thank our staff, Bianca, as well as V, for kind of behind the scene putting this together. Just want to let everybody know that, by the way, we should not call it social distancing. I was going to say we had our social mixer, but I think there's a big social need. So maybe we should change that language today and just put maybe physical distancing. But that social, I think we still continue to have, and that's why everybody's here. So thank you for being on. So we had that just a few weeks ago, and I think last week, I mentioned a little bit earlier that we had a Vietnam speaking entrepreneur event. It was actually hosted by Little Saigon TV, so we were also live on TV last week with some of our members and speakers. But ABA would continue to provide information on financial assistance and business recovery and business resiliency. These initiatives are really important, and we'll continue to do that in the next few weeks. And we're probably longer than that, but we're trying very hard to make our webinars free. You on the call can help. You can help by joining as a free member, which is very easy. Just go to abala.org, join as a free member. And you can be more helpful if you join as a premium member. Premium member is only $100 a year. But of course, there's always an opportunity, if you feel obliged to do so, donate any amount you want. It would be fantastic, and that could be done on our website, as well as our foundation website, asianbusinesscenter.org. Today, we have the luxury of having James Shea. He is a CEO and founder of Cybertegic, a firm with a strong passion towards internet marketing and web technology. Now, you may have been to his CyberCon before, and he usually produces those shows on a yearly basis. At those events, he typically educates the public on the latest digital trends that take place in the market today. We're lucky that he's taking a part of that big CyberCon to really hone in and focus on web design and how it can generate sales. Without any further ado, I'd like to turn this program over to James. James, everybody. James Shea, welcome.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody? Even though I couldn't see you in person, but I want to wish everybody in doing this turbulent time, everyth's well with you and your family. It's an honor and a pleasure to be featured in one of Asian Business Association's webinar again. I have gathered my team, my lovely team today, to share our knowledge in regards to web designing with the audience. Very soon, I'm going to have Jennifer, my team, share her screen, and I'll take over the presentation from that point. And we have about 45 minutes of material to share with everybody today. We believe that because of the pandemic and the social distancing factors, we see that businesses transition online very quickly. But that's mainly because consumers are transitioning online very quickly. So we want to see what we can do in terms of sharing knowledge, useful knowledge, to help you redesign your site for better conversion, and hopefully that it will help you during this time of crisis with the pandemic. Right. So Jen, let me know if you're going to be sharing your screen soon, or
sure,
should
actually, I'm going to have Michelle do that for us.
Okay. Okay. And then allow me to do this. Request for control. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let me know if everybody can see the screen now. Sorry, Michelle, I'm not able to control your screen for some reason. I can move to the, oh, here we go. Sorry, guys, a little bit technical difficulty here. Michelle, I'm not able to control your screen for some reason. I'm just gonna take over the control of the screen. Can you just exit where you are? Just stop sharing your screen. Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay. Sorry guys for the technical difficulties. So if I have to, I will do this from memory if the presentation doesn't come out.
Do you want, yeah, I think it might be good if maybe one of your staff shares James's vocals and maybe just cue him up for the advancement. At least I think there's something visual. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that will be okay.
Yeah, so because right now we see, I think your desktop, which has a lot of things I don't understand.
Sorry, I'm a techie. I have a lot of things running on my background.
We'll figure that out right now and figure out. So hang on, everybody there with us. Hey, shout out to David Lynn out there. David Lynn, how are you? Good to see that you're on. Yes, we can see who's on, but you know, you can't see us. But
are you guys seeing the presentation?
Here we go. Awesome. We're good.
So I can share the presentation.
Oh no, it says I am.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay. So while my team's controlling the presentation, guys, I truly apologize for the technical difficulties. But I'm gonna let them control the presentation and I will talk. First of all, allow me to introduce my team member. There's a reason why I gathered my whole team here today. On the right-hand side, you will see we have my project manager, website development project manager, Michelle, with us today. She has almost 15 years of experience in designing not only content website, but e-commerce website that's based off of Magento, Shopify, and for content website based off of a WordPress platform. She has a lot of very good tips and information to share with everybody today in regards to web design for your business website. Second, we have Jennifer. Jennifer, wave to everybody. Jennifer is the marketing manager in my company. And today she's going to be sharing a very important part of a website design called search engine optimizations. Nowadays, when you design a website, it's not only important that it looks good and it conveys the message, but it needs to be search engine friendly. So you have a chance to rank on Google to get additional traffic and exposures. Okay. Lastly, we have a gentleman here by the name of Johnny. Johnny, please wave to everybody. Right.
Hello.
Johnny is going to be hiding in the chat room with all of you guys and try to answer questions from the audience while me, Michelle, and Jennifer are presenting. Now, Johnny's role in our company is a solution advisor. He's really a business analyst, which he always first look at the client's business and understand the requirements, the need of a client's business before we design a website. Because it's very important, each site is designed according to the need of the business. So Johnny is the first step in understanding the requirement, and Michelle is the execution of the website building. Jennifer, at the end, use marketing to drive traffic to a site so the client's business can grow. So Michelle, if you could, please go to the next slide. Okay. A little bit about myself. I run Cybertegic. I'm the CEO of Cybertegic, but I'm also the vice chair of Asian Business Association this year. And a little bit of history on that. About 7 years ago, I went to one of the ABA events. upon joining the networking event, I was really impressed with the caliber of people in the networking event. They're friendly, but they're also very professional. And ever since then, I think 2 years after I attended ABA's event, I decided to volunteer and donate myself and my soul to ABA. And Dennis can testify to that. So for the past 5 years, I've been on the board of Asian Business Association. And I love ABA's mission and focus to help small business. And that's why, any chance I can, I will marry my resources with ABA to help them, help the small business in our community.
To be clear, we only want your soul. We don't want you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Just the soul?
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Michelle, next slide.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
Okay, so our company is digital marketing by heart, but we're equally very strong in website design and development. Okay, there are a couple of things that we specialize in. Michelle, if you can click to some of the logo and let them all show up. We're Google certified as well as we're Yelp certified, meaning that we specialize in utilizing those channels to advertising. We also execute Google ads that you see on, in the pay-per-click ads, in the SEO, and the product listing ads as well as YouTube and social media ads. Those are the channel and the advertising channel that we're familiar with. Okay. Michelle, next slide, please. Okay. In terms of the web design part, we are good in 3 platforms. And the 3 platforms are basically Magento and Shopify for e-commerce, and WordPress for content website. Those are the 3 most important platforms right now on the market with large market share. Okay, Michelle, please go to the next slide. Today, we're going to cover 5 areas of topics for you guys. One is I wanted to share the up-to-date business trend during this pandemic with you guys. Second is the website design trend for the 2020s. Third, Michelle is going to go in and share with you website design tips to increase customers and sales. Fourth, we're going to talk about ADA and CCPA compliance as well as GDPR compliance. Because in this area, last year, before the pandemic happened, we see there was a lot of lawsuit that's been handing it out there because people's website wasn't ADA compliant. So we want to bring this to your awareness and make sure you understand what ADA compliance is and how to go about making your site ADA compliant. And lastly, we want to talk about once you have your site perfected and built, how do you use some of the basic marketing, including SEO marketing, to generate traffic and sales for your website? And lastly, we'll open up the sessions for question and answers. Okay. Yeah, Michelle, next, please. Okay. So I invest in stock, and I see a very strong correlation in terms of the stock market in reflection of what our societies, what's happening in our society. So if you invest in tech stock, you would know the overall NASDAQ index is higher now compared to back in January 1st. Okay. So the tech sector is doing really well for the reason that everybody in the consumers and business are now all pivoting online to conduct their business and activity online due to the social distancing factors. Michelle, next slide, please. Zoom, the platform that we're currently using right now, is another indicator. If you look at that stock price right now, imagine back in January, you bought it, and now where it is at. It's a clearly indicator that our life now are now very closely ingrained with virtual activities, okay, since we cannot be going out. Right? So what we urge people to do is that you have to recognize that in this point, your business needs to transition online, okay, and you have to start first with your website design. Michelle, next, please. Okay. This is a study by CNBC. They took a comparison of data between, well, at the beginning of the pandemic from March to April 12 versus last year at this exact same time. This statistic will show you that basically people are start purchasing stuff online, especially book, things that deal with staying at home and working from home, book, cleaning. The sport and outdoor activity could be a bit misleading. This should be more of a fitness sector. We see a great increase in sales for fitness equipments. Okay. Again, if you look at Peloton, the cycling stocks, it's going through the roof as well because of the pandemics. Okay. There's a lot of categories that's actually doing well in this pandemic, but equally there's a lot of business categories that's not doing well because they're more related to physical activity and contacts. Michelle, next please. Okay. So in February, we did a digital marketing webinar with ABA, and we were telling all the business it's important to start pivoting. We believe to pivot, the foundation of your pivoting should be your website. You need to update your website with the most relevant information, help people understand how you're operating your business. And from there, you can do marketing to generate leads and sales. Michelle, next. Right. Now, on the top of mind for all business owners, there are three main concerns and objectives business owners want to overcome during this pandemic. Number one is obviously finding more customer due to the customer they have lost in this pandemic. Two is they need to find a way to provide safety, not only to their customers, but to their employees. Okay. A touchless and a contactless world is where we're heading to now. Lastly is control costs. Right? All business owners, because they suffer in the reduction of their income, their revenue, they're trying to reduce costs through reduced labor inefficiencies. Michelle, next. With your website, you can achieve those three objectives pretty easily, and we're going to show you some examples. One is that once you have a site built, you can use email campaign to email your existing customer to let them see the new information, the product offering, and services that you have. Two, you can execute online advertisement to find new customer online, which now everybody's online. You can draw more targeted and more related customer to your websites to increase your chance of getting more additional revenue. Now, in terms of providing safety, okay, if you have a website, you now can enable what we call the QR code links to get people from their phone to your site very easily. We're showing an example of that later, so you understand how that works. Moreover, you can create, if you're a restaurant or you used to send out print catalog, you can have your online menu or your catalog now on your website and provide contactless payment solution using credit card through the phone. Lastly, we talk about objective of controlling costs. Use frequently asked questions information on your website to reduce costs and time involved with your customer service representative. Reduce print costs, printing catalog and flyer, and then definitely take orders online. I want to show you guys some example that we've seen lately that we think was brilliant, that how these people are using website and technology to incorporate into their business. There was a restaurant in Little Saigon that I went to recently. And as I went into the restaurant and I sat down, I noticed on the bottom right-hand corner, there was a little QR code that says scan here for menu. So I didn't even have to touch the menu. All I did was take my phone. I pointed my camera at that QR code in front of me, and immediately I was asked to link to a web page where I can see their menu. Okay. Now, even more amazing was that I thought I would have to give them my credit card at the end of my meal and touch their pen and sign my credit card slip. But no, I was wrong. They were more advanced than I thought. They gave me my receipt and they said, there's a QR code. Please take out your phone again, point it at that QR code. And sure enough, a web page popped out from their website where I can enter my credit card information on my phone without touching their payment receipts and finish payments. So as I mentioned, we're entering into a touchless world. I completed all those transactions without having to give them their credit card, have them hand back to me the credit card, which their hand probably touch a lot of other things. And therefore, I felt a lot more safer going to that restaurant because they're conscious of my safety and their employee safety. And I definitely will return back to the restaurant again for that dining experience. Okay. Michelle next. Here's another example of how businesses are scrambling to provide contactless solutions and increase sales. This is Warby Parker. They sell glasses. They have implemented an augmented reality AR app on their phone where you don't need to order 5 pair of glasses sent to your house where you touch it and decide which one is good or not, and then pack the rest and return the one that you don't want to. You actually just point the camera to your face and pick the glasses that you want. The app will superimpose different glasses onto your face proportionally correctly too. So you can try out hundreds of glasses without even having to touch the physical glass. And and of course, there's a buy button on the bottom if you want to make the purchase. Click on it very quickly and complete your transaction. Okay. For those of you who love IKEA furnitures, go download IKEA's app. It allows you to put furniture into your living room, into your family room, just purely by pointing your camera at your living room and your family room. That's another augmented reality app that's used in the contactless world. Okay. Michelle, next. Other examples that you should design your website and make sure it's incorporated in there is that definitely you want to use 30-second videos to explain your business. Right? In the past, we used to write write short description to explain what our services is, but now we're in the world of video. Everybody is very comfortable watching a 30-second video. And you should incorporate that in your business practice as well. If you want to see an actual example of this, feel free to go to our website. On our homepage, we have this short, very cute 30-second videos that explain what we do. Right in the middle, that's me, and all the way on the left, that is Johnny, and then Jennifer and Michelle is the blonde-haired one. So anyhow, Michelle, next. Okay. Another very good example that we highly encourage everybody must do is incorporate a 30-second customer testimonial video. It could be as long as 2 minutes, but definitely no longer than 2 minutes because people start losing interest. Okay. It's not that hard to get a customer testimonial video. Just ask your customer, whenever you have a happy customer, ask them if they can do you a favor and send you a customer testimonial video. This will help establish trust in the eyes of your website visitors. Okay. Michelle, next, please. Chatbot. Later on, Jennifer and Michelle is actually going to talk about the implementation of live chat and AI-powered chatbots. And the benefit of using chatbot is that even outside of the 9 to 6 office hours, if your customer has questions about your service or your products, the AI-powered chatbot can answer the question and therefore increase your chance of closing another sales or get another leads, even outside of the office hours. Furthermore, this will help cut down on your customer service time required. Okay. Michelle, next, please. And then last two good idea is that once you do have your website built, it's beautiful, it's full of good information, you want to make sure that in your Yelp business listing, in your Google My Business listing, which we talked about it in our previous webinar with the ABA, you want to link that to your website so people can read as much information about your business as possible so they can come to a conclusion faster in doing business with you. Yeah. Michelle, next, please. Okay. And then another avenue, which we will talk about later, is SEO. this is actually one of our clients. When you're building your site, you definitely want to optimize your sites for Google rankings. And this is what we call SEO marketing. This client currently, they sell sterling silver, they do wholesale sterling silver jewelries, and they're currently ranked #2. And the fact that they were able to rank in first page of Google helped them generate a lot of traffic without them having to spend a lot of advertising costs. And during the time of pandemic, we think conserving costs is essential. So we highly recommend deploying SEO marketing for your website. Okay, Michelle next. Okay, and lastly, one of the good examples that we see from other business is that have a compassion. If there's a way you can build your business model in which that you can give back to your community. For example, somebody buy a product and you can donate 5% of the proceeds to a local community that is suffering, kids that's starving. It's going to go very well with your community, and you're going to find a lot of support. People wanted to support your business. Okay. Warby Parker, actually, I believe they donate 1 glasses to kids in a poor country whenever you buy glasses. I don't know if that promotion is still available, but it is that kind of compassion that resonates with the consumer. And if you have a chance to do that with your community, by all means, do so. All right. Okay, Michelle next. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna stop talking and let my team, who actually have a lot of experience in doing web design and marketing, take over and share their idea and experience with you. They're gonna start from the fundamental of how websites look and feel should be designed to move into the aspect of how design can convert leads and sales from both not only the design end, from the marketing end. And then later on, we'll talk about ADA compliance. And the end, we'll open it up for Q&A for everybody. Okay, Michelle, take over, please.
Okay, hi everybody. I hope you guys are still doing good. Thank you, James. So we'll get into my portion, and the goal of this portion is to provide you with some good information and tips on how to use your website as a tool to effectively increase your conversions. So to do that, let's first dive into a little bit of how a customer thinks and what steps they take to make a decision. The first step is to activate the buying process. And how they do that is a potential customer will need to find a problem or some kind of need. And this is the motivation that will allow them to take the first step, either to go out to a store or search online to find your website. Then the second step is we know that the customer is looking for a right solution. So what is the right solution? This is a balance of a few factors. For example, if a customer is at the store and they're looking at different products, they're considering, is this product the right price? For the price I'm paying, is the quality good? And also, will all of the features of this product solve my current problem? And then we also know, step 3, that especially online, many customers will do some research, and that research will be dependent on how expensive the product is. If the product is more expensive, right, if you're spending more money, you're gonna spend more time to research and compare with other product offerings. And if it's less expensive, then you would need less information to make that final decision. And then of course, step 4 is the final decision. So what does that mean for you? Knowing these things, you can use these on your own website. So for example, do your products, the way you're marketing them and displaying them, do they solve a problem that a customer has? And also, are you offering a deal that they can't resist? Is it the right price for the quality? And also, are you giving them anything extra, like free shipping, to entice them to choose you over any competitors? And then also the last one for research, are you providing enough information for them to feel confident about your product and then move forward? So now that we know a little bit about how the steps that your customers go through to make a decision, here are a few more tips of what to display on your website to encourage them for more conversions. The first one, your website should have consistent branding. That means high quality logos and colors throughout the website. It should have a cohesive branding message. The second one is to use a color and contrast to help your messages stand out. So for example, this back to school promotion is in bright colors on a white background with the up to 40% off in a black color. So it's contrasting and people are more drawn to look at that. Number 3, always use human faces in your imagery. This helps you build more relatability, and also any visitors who are looking at your products or your services can build an emotional connection with your brand. Number 4, make sure your navigation is easy to use. It's prominent and also logical. Number 5, reduce the number of options that you're putting in front of your customer. Sometimes having too many options can be paralyzing, and it can cause shoppers to have anxiety. So in this case, less is more. Always highlight a few of your best products, and if you have services, always feature your best features that are the most valuable to your customers. Okay, number 6, use shorter forms. So if you look here, a short form is considered 5 fields, where a long form is considered 9. And as you see, the more fields you add, the lower the conversion. So I'll only keep essential information. But if your service calls for more fields of information, you can use something like a multi-step format that presents a short form at a time. So it's less overwhelming and more accessible to your visitors and your potential customers. And then number 7, make sure your website is loading appropriately. I'm sure you've all had to face frustration with a really slow website, and I'm sure a lot of you probably would have given up if it had taken too long. So as you can see here, between 2 to 3 seconds is kind of the standard. Anything higher than that, the conversion starts to drop by a lot. So make sure that your images and your videos are optimized for your website loading, but without losing any quality. And then finally,
sorry, Scott, I'd like to chime in a little bit on here. I need to emphasize the importance of a mobile design now for your websites. Many years ago, probably 2-3 years ago, we already seen that there are more traffic going to the phone and to the iPad and the tablet version versus going to a website. So unless today you're doing purely business to business, but if you are doing business to consumer, you must make sure the mobile version of your website is optimized correctly with fast speed for 2 reasons. It will increase your sales, but also in addition, it's important for SEO. SEO, as we mentioned before, is how you rank to become first page of Google. If your website is slow, it's not mobile friendly, your chance of ranking in first page of Google will be very low, which Jennifer will explain more later.
Okay. So yes, just like James mentioned, number 8, make sure your website is mobile friendly and optimized for mobile viewing and devices. It's especially now during the pandemic, I think a lot more people are spending time on their mobile devices and doing shopping. So making sure that your website is catering for mobile devices will ensure a positive user experience, so customers can focus on your messages and your products instead of having a hard time viewing your website in the first place. Okay, so as you can see here, in the last 7 years, mobile traffic has increased by 222%, and out of the total online traffic globally, mobile traffic accounts for about 50% of that. So it's very important. So now we know kind of what kind of information your potential customers need to make decisions, and also tips on how to present that effectively. We'll talk a little bit about how, in what order. So the first page is very important, is your home page. And here I have broken it down into 5 different blocks. The first one being the header. And the header is the first thing that your customer sees when they load your website. It's very important that you display some kind of contact number here, or some kind of link to a contact channel, either to a contact form or a chat, because as your customer is navigating through your website and looking through your products and service information, if they have any questions, they could quickly refer back to your header to find that contact number and reach out to you. The second one is a navigation bar. Again, make sure that it stands out and it's organized. I know every industry is a little bit different, so make sure you, it's logical for your industry. And then the next one is, third block is sliders. So in this area, you would showcase your marketing. Usually 2 to 3 slides is enough, because anything more than that, your customers will not have the time to see beyond the 3rd slide. And the content that you should show in the slides should present your products and your services as some kind of solution or answer to a problem that they have, and which is the initial motivation that they had to look for your website in the first place. And then the next block is the product and service display. So in this block, again, less is more. So showcase your strongest products and display your top features for your service offerings. And then the 5th block is the community engagement. So this is a great place to include like an Instagram feed or any social media that you are engaging with your customers or fans, blogs, and then also testimonials, whether in text or in video. So the next page that's very important is your product and services page. Because your customers aren't able to go into a store and actually physically hold and see your products, having multiple product angles and also making sure that your photos are in high quality is very important. You want them to be able to see exactly what they are getting, and also same with if you have a service, include some kind of imagery so that they can relate to it. In your product description or service description, make sure that it's very detailed so that they feel they have enough information to feel confident about moving forward with buying your product or subscribing to your services. The next one is the added value offerings block. And the product page is actually a very good place to kind of remind your customers of any added offerings. So for example, like if you offer free shipping, or maybe you offer some free returns, your current promotions are also good to list here, or any freebies that come with your product. And then finally, a call to action. So if you have any products, if you have products, add to cart or buy now is a call to action. If you have services, contact us, or click here for more information. Those are good call to action buttons to have on your product. And lastly, we'll talk about some features that I think are great for you to have now during this pandemic. Especially now, I think online interaction is more important than ever. Like Dennis said earlier, right? It shouldn't be called social distancing, because we're actually more social through like video chat than ever, right? Or because we're lacking it so much physically. So making sure to focus on that and working on your customer service is one of the best things that you could do right now. So for example, if you use something like a live chat, you can actually be readily available with the customer when they're on your website and answer their questions in real time. And that way they can feel there's a human behind the screen. It's more personable, and I think it's very important during this time. Another way to close up the gap is to feature some COVID-19 policies. And these policies should benefit your customers during this time of hardship. So it could be anything like adding a free shipping promotion, or extending free return periods, or offering some kind of payment plan for customers who are currently facing some kind of financial burden because of having to stay at home. And then lastly, be transparent. So what this means is that let your customers know how your business is handling business during the pandemic, whether you guys are taking a hit like everyone else, or you're implementing extra things to make sure that your quality of service is the same. It's always great to keep them in the loop so that they can build more confidence and relatability to your business.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about auto chatbox and why it's important to have on your website. So importantly, improving user engagement is very important for any business as it helps retain customers. A well-designed chatbox keeps users on your site by providing them with relevant information about your products and services. Secondly, like Michelle said, Chatbox is available 24/7. Your customers can quickly, or you or the Chatbox can quickly respond to customers' requests at any time, even on the weekends when your business is closed. If you have a lot of visitors on your website, chances are that your employees may not be able to reply to them all at the same time, or at least quick enough. So with the Chatbox, it can actually handle high demands by replying to customers all at the same time, also reducing costs as well. So according to research, about 34% of users prefer using a Chatbox from online retailers to get the answers that they need. And then about 27% of healthcare sites, and then 20% from banking. So again, it's really, you want to provide a chat box to provide instant information to your customers. Next. Also, you can use the power of AI to automate your chat box. They're usually designed to provide customers with a human-to-human conversation. You can use a common Q&A or FAQ page from your website to build a conversation based on the customer's questions or needs. Chat boxes learns the customer's questions to create personalized responses. Also, Chatbox can learn and improve from past conversations to provide better and more efficient responses in the future.
And everybody, don't think that it's hard to implement these chatbot functions. Honestly, if you have the right company, technology company to work with you, it probably only take about a week to implement AI chatbot with the right platform onto your website. So don't let these this high-tech word that we're using scare you from implementation. It's actually not that hard. Okay.
Okay.
Jen, go ahead.
That's it. And then I'm going to move it over to Michelle to talk about CCPA.
Okay, so before Michelle starts to go into the gritty details about these three compliance, allow me to explain. All right, ADA compliance is basically created. It's a law now that all website owners need to make sure the website is designed so blind people, deaf people, people with disability can still use your website and without being feel that they're being discriminated against. And because of this law, many lawyers started sending out tens of thousands demand letters to people's website that's not ADA compliance. Personally, I already know about 3 companies that I know very closely that got served with a lawyer's letter, and they end up having to settle the case between $5,000 to about $50,000 just because they got that demand letter. So I like everybody to pay attention to the ADA compliance lawsuit that's going around and be prepared. Make sure you have at least the minimal compliance requirement done on your side. Now, CCPA, it's called the California Consumer Protection Privacy Act. That just kicked in July 31st. Actually, I'm sorry, July 1st just kicked in right now. So we do anticipate lawyers' demand letter coming, but that probably won't be until a few months later. There's a couple of requirements. If you're doing business over 25 million and above a year, or you have 50,000 customer record transactions per year, you could be a high target for CCPA compliance lawsuit. Okay, so watch out in that area. Now, GDPR is basically European version of CCPA, but of course GDPR came out first. So if you're doing business with Europe, you need to pay attention to see whether your website is GDPR compliance. Okay, both CCPA and GDPR basically says if people is visiting your website, you gotta let them know you're collecting information. And if they're gonna ask you what information you're collecting of them, you gotta be able to have a system in place and quickly show them what you're collecting. And lastly, if they ask you to remove all their information, your website and your system also has to have a way to quickly remove their information. Okay, I know, easily said, very difficult to execute. But the good thing is, if you're not that big of the company, you don't have to worry about CCPA. If you're not doing business with Europe, you don't have to worry about GDPR. That ADA compliance is hitting everybody, whether you're small or big. So watch out for that. Okay, so that's my a quick overview on those 3 compliance. Michelle, take over and tell them the more of the details.
Okay, thank you, James, for scaring everyone. Okay, so just again, very quickly, I think James covered a lot of it. If you don't know what ADA compliance is, ADA stands for Americans with Disability Act. And basically it's a standard for all places of public accommodation. So your website's actually considered one of those places. What you need to do is cater your website to anybody with disabilities. And on their rules, they have a guideline called WCAG 2.0. And you just have to adjust your website to meet those guidelines. So what's on the guidelines? There's 4 major principles: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. Perceivable and operable, same. So basically what this says is that anybody who goes to your website, with whether they have disabilities or not, disabilities being blind or deaf or any other form, can see and or listen to the text, images, and videos on your website. Operable, they need to be able to navigate your website and use all of your features. Understandable, you need to implement some kind of clear, detailed instructions so that users are not confused ever on your website. And the last one, everyone, no matter disability or not, need to have an equal experience on your website. And that means also allowing them to use assistive technologies to do so. The next one is CCPA and GDPR. So CCPA applies to California and GDPR applies to EU and the UK. And basically what these are is they protect consumer information. If you are any sort of business that deals with consumer data, for CCPA, I think the requirement is if you make 25 million or more. And then also GDPR is any business entity that deals with customer data. You need to make sure that you're transparent about what kind of customer information that you're collecting and exactly what you're doing with it in a privacy policy that's constantly updated. And then also, you, like James said, you need to provide some kind of option for customers to opt out. You need to be able to give them some form of control with their own personal data, whether to request to opt out or request for it to be deleted. And that's it.
Okay, great. Thanks for that good explanation. So if you guys, if anybody have further question about ADA, CCPA, and GDPR, again, by all means, email us at the email address that we put in the chat room. Johnny can look at your business and see if you need compliance or you have compliance issues. Okay, so now we're going to move on to search engine optimization. As I mentioned, once you finish designing your site or in the process of designing it, make sure you're also designing it with search engine optimization in mind for your site. So your website have a chance to rank higher in Google in the first page of Google. All right. And Jennifer, please take over and explain SEO to our audience.
Thank you. So what is SEO? SEO stands for search engine optimization, as James said, and it's very important to keep in mind when designing your website. Okay, Michelle?
Okay, Michelle, next.
Thank you. So again, SEO is really a standard marketing tactic that generates organic visibility and traffic to help websites rank in the top 10 positions of Google based off of keywords related to your business. Like say, for example, if I were looking for a gaming PC, instead of having to pay for my listing to show up on Google, it shows up organically. It increases traffic and it builds brand recognition. Go ahead. Next. So why is SEO important, especially during this pandemic? There's actually many different factors. Next, Michelle. So as we know, online search behavior has increased, whether it's been shopping online or virtual checkup, just because of the pandemic. According to Bright Edge Research, SEO drives over 50% of traffic around the world, and it's way more than paid traffic, which is 15%. Okay. As you can see in the retail and e-commerce industry, 36.4% of revenue comes from SEO search, and 52% comes from B2B, and then a whopping 58% comes from technology verticals.
And based on our personal experience conducting digital marketing for all of our clients, in the past 15 years, as we compare channels such as Google pay-per-click advertisement, compare SEO marketing versus social media marketing, we clearly see that actually SEO, if you've done it right, do it over a long period of time, it actually generates the best returns on advertising investment. And the investment you're putting in is basically the time and the agency that you're working with, or internally that you're writing blogs or doing articles. But overall, we see SEO actually has the best ROI.
Okay, next slide. So, there's many important elements that contribute to SEO. It includes a good website design and optimizations, meaning making sure, again, your website is fast enough, because a slow website would actually have a negative effect on ranking, because Google actually uses mobile websites to index first before a desktop website to indicate your ranking position. One other important factor is content, making sure that you have relevant information for what your customers are looking for, to let them make the best decision in their buying process. And the second one is social media. This is to generate more brand recognition and to generate talk throughout the community. And these are all good to generate more traffic to your website. Also, one new goal that we have is trying to reach for zero position ranking, which is a featured snippet on Google search. Like, for example, if you were to search for what is SEO marketing, sometimes on Google search, you'll see the very first little snippet. It will answer your question directly. And so that's one of the goals with SEO ranking, is trying to get you in that position. Okay. And then I'm going to give it to James to talk about.
Sure. We're almost at the end of our webinar, guys. I know we went through so many slides so quickly, so I apologize. But if you need a copy of this presentation, again, please leave your email with Johnny, and then we'll send a copy to you. Now, let me wrap this thing up. The pandemic has definitely shifted the consumer's behavior online, as all of us are now sitting at home watching this webinar. Okay. Business must pivot quickly to meet the customers online. So when you're designing your site, remember, you need to be solution focused, like Michelle said. You design to solve problems that consumer have. It has to be mobile friendly, right? And then lastly, you want it to design with the search engine optimization in mind as well, so you can achieve higher ranking and obtain free traffic from Google. And then lastly, make sure your site is ADA compliant and CCPA and GDPR compliant if that's applied to you. Okay, Michelle, next. So this is the portion, just allow me to do a little bit sales pitch here. I know it's not easy to do web design, and especially if you're short-handed. We are, as I mentioned, not only strong in digital marketing, but we are a web design powerhouse who focus on WordPress, Shopify, and Magento. If you are thinking about making over your website or need help designing your website, we would love the opportunity to see if we can assist you in this aspect. Okay, and just reach out to us if you have that need. Michelle, next slide, please. So from us to you, here's a couple of things. We will email you an access to today's presentations if you can provide us with your email addresses. Okay. In that email, we'll also include, there's 2 guides that we think it's important for your business, which we generated from our last webinar. It's a step-by-step guide, DIY guide, that you can follow to increase your website's exposure and traffic on Yelp and Google, okay, Google My Business. Okay, so once you receive this guide, please do go through and follow the step. It will help increase traffic for your website, okay. We'll also have very short videos on 2020 website design trend in that email for you to go back and reference and understand what are some of the important design elements that we talked about. Okay, and as I mentioned, I devoted my soul and myself to ABA. So if you are now, I'm assuming you have to be an ABA value member now because you signed up. And value member is free. When you sign up, it's free. And if you're a premium member with either one, if you do decide to seek assistance with us and give us the opportunity to help you with your project, if you're ABA members, we will give you $500 off your project. Just mention that you're ABA member. All right. This is how I would like to give back to my most favorite community and help everybody. Okay. And with that, that's it, Dennis. I'm wrapped up. I hope me and my team has been able today to provide a lot of useful tips to help you revamp your websites and hopefully generate a lot more lost business through your websites in this pandemic.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. That was really, I know there's a lot of information. I know you could probably go on for another hour because there's so much. And I know we appreciate that, you know, what you guys usually do from your CyberCon really condensed it for us. So I know there's a lot of information, but I think the follow-up with you, certainly it's very helpful. Love the tips about the Yelp as well as the Google My Business. I think those are nice little takeaways. I also like the fact that you really kind of lay things out in terms of the design and what that would look like. Last thing, my takeaway was 2 things that always come to mind, right? There's always new users that I think the website is trying to reach. And there's also your current users, right? And I think it was kind of briefly in there, but I did catch it. The way to go after new users is to do online ads. To keep your current customers engaged is through email campaigns.
Correct.
Did I do a good job and kind of capture that?
Very good. You've been taking notes. That's good, Dennis.
But I think there's a lot. And I think a testimony to that is really James's credit to help us with our website. So I think if you ever search about Asian business itself or Asian Business Association or even ABA, we rank, if not the first one, the first 2. I think what's so good that James does, if you Google, I think one of our board directors' names, instead of their website comes up, our website comes up. So that's how good it is. So with that, we just want to take a minute to thank you and your team for sharing that information. But before we go, James, I just want to, oh wait, did I do? I want to share our other screen to make sure I do this right. Oh, I think I did that right. Just to let you know about some of the things that's coming up in for our association before we go. Is that in a few weeks from now, some of you, we're going to do a webinar about business incentives. So again, in our effort to help with the business recovery, some of you may or may not know opportunity zones. These are zones set up with incentives in those setups for your building. If you're buying it and you're putting that in the opportunity zone. I think there's a big tax deferred thing. And then if you have it for a certain time, it's forgiven. SBA itself will come on and join us to talk about that. We have a couple other things about manufacturing, especially food service here in Southern California. We have an expert that'll come on and talk about the incentives for that. And we have a CPA talking to you about the different incentives that businesses can take to do that. Again, those are going to be on our website that's coming up in August 12th. But 2 other things I'm very excited about is we'll continue our women's event. We feature Asian entrepreneurs. Take a look at our website, abala.org/women, and see the speakers. And that's happening on August 27th, toward the end of next month. Lastly, social needs is going to be met, but through distance. Because when we play golf together, some of us will be on the left side, some will be on the right side. So we'll be out playing in our golf tournament, distance apart because we're never good towards ending the flag, but we'll be out there socializing. That's happening on September 21st as well for our tournament. But we would like to take a minute to thank you, James, again for your time to get on with us. Top of the hour. And hopefully we'll do this soon again.
Yeah, and Dennis we'll stick around if anybody have particular question about their websites they want me and my team to answer.
Sure.
We'll be
Yeah, feel free to put on the, yeah, thank you for that. So feel free to use the chat box and to do that. I think that's the best way to do it. If you, we can certainly moderate that if you have any questions for them. But thank you, Johnny, Michelle, Jennifer, and your team to help us and get on in a nice Thursday afternoon. Bianca and V, thank you too.
Bianca's hiding in the background.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bianca.
Yeah, we'll stay on here in case there's any questions.
Yeah. So when is the golf tournament, Dennis?
Golf tournament's gonna be up on September 21st. We already have like 110 golfers confirmed.
110.
People are real, yeah, so I have a few more spots left.
I'm telling you, it's quarantine fatigue. People can't wait to get out.
Hey, safety is important. We'll wear a mask around the clubhouse, but once they're on the course, it's okay because everybody will be afar apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. I think it's one of the few things that we can continue to do to be distanced, right?
You know, I see a business opportunity. I think I'm pretty sure people are doing this already. The mask is going to be highly customizable and fashion focused now. Everybody's going to express themselves through a mask by having some kind of message or print on it. So
I have an idea for you, James, and those who are here still around to pay attention if they want to steal the idea. Idea is cheap, but execution is hard, right? Because you guys are very good at execution, okay? But the idea was, what if we have like space helmets? So think about this, right? It's like a helmet, like small, but we can still breathe.
Yeah.
And that's it. We could just go out every time. It'd be fine. Just don't touch our face.
Oh, I'll tell you something. I was in a group chat today, and my friend texted me. They said that now there's one of those diving gear where it's an entire mask, and then you have that thing, right?
Yes.
Now, the funny thing is, they said you could put an N95 filter right in the pipe. Now is an N95 certified diving gear, so you can go in the water, you can come out and go shopping. You never have to take it off.
It's
basically like wearing a big fishbowl around your head.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree, Jennifer. I think that's, if someone can convince, you know, it'd be lightweight, right? It got to be a little bit lightweight. Fishbowl could be heavy. But I think that's right, the idea, right? So I think that's how germs are being spread, or the virus being spread is usually through our eyes and nose, right? So if we can block that, see, there you go. Manufacturer here, because there will be next few weeks the manufacturing manufacturing group's going to be on and tell about the incentives of manufacturing locally. So that'll be really good. Yeah, I know people are trying to bring that, you know, the PPEs, trying to make it here in the United States.
You know, during this pandemic, even though it's sad to see many businesses suffer, but you see a lot of new ideas emerge. And if you watch carefully, you can actually see where the opportunities are in this pandemic. Now, a perfect example was one of our beloved board member, Chewy, right? Chewy switched very quickly from making kids clothing, selling them online, to making kids masks. And her masks, kids masks, are very fashionable, and kids like cute, fashionable stuff. Now she's getting, you know, so many orders coming through that she's busy, but that is a perfect example of looking at the opportunity and quickly pivot, you know, during this pandemic.
So in that same line, if people like a certain brand better, do they put that brand on there? So like, you know, bum equipment. I know I'm dating myself. What's a bum? LA Gear, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Those are the brands that did not do well.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously Nike, everybody knows, and Adidas and stuff. Well, people wear it because it's a cool brand.
Yeah, I definitely think so. You know, now coming back to thinking about the golf tournament that you're hosting, maybe each team will have their custom mask expressing their ideas.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
why I
We
was
should,
thinking
we,
yeah, about
that's
that.
a good idea. We used to, well, we do, one of the contests is about best dressed team. So
Yeah,
we encourage people to come in a
yeah,
team uniform, but best, I guess, mask. So they'll
yeah.
wear it. That's
Yeah.
good. I like how we shape that, right? That's a good idea.
Mm, mm. Each sponsor or speaker will have their own company's mask on, so you know which company they represent. You know,
Hmm. Can they just do an LED and then you do that AI kind of a thing? So when you're mouthing, it seems like this guy's doing.
that was another great idea that I hope somebody would take that idea and go manufacture and make that product. So for those of you who doesn't know what me and Dan is talking about, there was a news that came out. This guy from England, I believe, he created a black mask with LED in there. But that LED light will follow the shape of your mouth. So if you start speaking, the LED light look like it's a mouth talking, opening. So they actually people can actually see your expression instead of just wow, they're talking to you. Are you mad? Are you happy? Are you they don't know what your expression is, right? So you can talk through the mask with an expression. I think that thing will sell. Somebody should make that, put it on a website, put it on Amazon. That would be $1 million idea. And then you can design it with logos, floating by, floating across.